Ana has been a fan favorite character since her initial release in 2017, and no matter what meta the game is in or how viable she is, she will always be a consistently picked hero. And for good reason. She's widely agreed upon to have the most fun and rewarding kit within the support role. So today I'd like to go over Ana as a hero, what you might be doing wrong, and how to maximize her toolset. Ana is equipped with a sniper that deals both damage as well as heals. It's extremely important that you're utilizing both. As an Ana player, I know how easy it is to tunnel vision on healing your team, yet meanwhile there's an enemy weak in the backline. Don't be afraid to pause the healing on your team to clean up targets that you can snipe down. Ana can 3-shot or less most characters, so there's no reason to not weave in damage downfield when the time's right. Be constantly assessing the HP of your allies and the enemy to determine where the more productive shot lies. Additionally, Ana has 2 firing modes, scoped and unscoped. They deal out identical numbers, but scoping turns the bullet from an arcing, slower moving projectile to a straight hit scan weapon. The trade-off is that the second you scope, you lose your ability to strafe or move quickly. So assessing who's targeting you and where you're positioned is necessary for determining which type of shots you should be pulling out. Quick scoping can be a great way to get the best balance of both, but it significantly lowers your rate of fire. So use it for a quick, more accurate shot as you're trying to move positions. That being said, positioning on Ana is by far the most important aspect of learning her. Yes, she has some of the best anti-dive and defensive abilities, but once those are burned, she's probably the easiest hero to eliminate. Unlike most of her support counterparts, she doesn't have a single movement ability. So if nade and sleep don't work to push off the threat, you're stuck there hoping your support duo bails you out. Where to position as Ana depends on a few factors. The most prominent being what heroes the enemy team are playing, and secondly, what are your teammates playing. Some might say it's the other way around, but if you aren't alive to be in the fight, you can't heal your team no matter what they're running. If the enemy team is playing a heavy Brawl, Rein, or Orisa comp, you want to stay back as far away from the storm as possible. Heal your team from a distance and prioritize your tank in his or her duel. But if the opposing team switches to dive heroes like Tracer, Hammond, or Doom, you can't really get away with being far from the fight, since good dive players will target you immediately. In this case, most often you should stay glued to whoever the strongest anti-dive player on your team is at the moment. That might be Brig, it might be Torb or Roadhog, it doesn't matter who. Just know that you will need your team to defend you, because like I said, dive comp that knows what they're doing will target you. But as I stated earlier, Ana does possess some of the strongest anti-dive tools, so when combined with another anti-dive hero, you can survive these high pressure scenarios. That being said, let's dive into her abilities and how they are best used. Sleep Dart is among the most powerful cooldowns in the game, so use it wisely. It's on a long cooldown, so if you waste it, the enemy can use that time to get in close on you to punish. Try to not waste your sleep on low percentage shots. It's also extremely important to assess the way the enemy is playing. If they have an aggressive tank like Ball or Winston, almost exclusively save your sleep for when they try to pounce you. It's the greatest anti-dive tool, especially against tanks. Stay assessing what ultimates are coming online and try to position accordingly to shut them down. Best example of this is if you know Cassidy is going to be positioning for high noon soon. Stay aware of where he's at and be ready to hit the dart as soon as you hear his ult cue. Reinhardt is another one that by reading his body language, you can make an attempt to sleep him as he ults. Additionally, Ana might be the greatest beneficiary of the new ping system. The second you sleep a target, you gotta be pinging it for your team so they can react accordingly. Often you need them to help punish the target on the ground. Even better if you're in voice chat to call this out, but at a bare minimum, you gotta make that ping. If your team doesn't know to help find the slept target and punish them, then that could be a massively wasted opportunity. Finally, it's important to know that when you have a squishy character slept, the most powerful combo to ensure a kill is shoot, nade, shoot, punch. But if they have less than 150 HP, you can get away with just shoot, nade, punch. Heroes like Moira or Reaper can still get away depending on their health, but this will ensure kills on most of the squishy cast. And right beside one of the strongest cooldowns in the game is another just as important to winning or losing a team fight. It goes right along sleep as an extremely strong anti-dive tool, but can also be used to save your teammates on critical. Nade needs to always be used with intention, since when burned, you've lost your best survivability tool. And since Nade has a fairly wide splash radius, you don't always need to hit the enemy or the floor in front of them. So if you don't do this already, start thinking more creatively as to where you can get hits where otherwise you couldn't. The lampposts on King's Row are a perfect example of this. If there's a Ryan or Sigma shield blocking the choke, you can step back and jump throw to hit the lamp hanging over the front corner of the building. Any heroes playing that wall will get touched by the splash and you can create an opening for your team. Similar idea when defending. If a shield is blocking the choke or the front of the point, you can get heroes using the black car for cover, or again by the main building by hitting those lamps. There's spots like these all over every map, so think creatively. The more of these splash spots you can find, the more tricks you'll have in your kit to take advantage of. Last point regarding nade is don't waste it on yourself unnecessarily. If you're away from the fight but take some poke damage and your second healer isn't around to top you up, I think a bad habit carried over from Overwatch 1 where you'd use your nade to bring your health back up. But with the new support passive, Ana is a character that wants to play from cover anyway, so she can utilize the heal kicking on after a few seconds. By all means, use the nade when threatened, but if you can afford just getting to cover and waiting a few seconds, it's far better to not burn the ability purely on yourself. And finally, let's talk about Nanoboost. Nano is generally considered only an offensive ability, and while yes, that's where the most power lies, don't be afraid to use it to save a low HP target, especially your tank. The 300 instant HP plus the damage reduction gained from Nano can instantly turn what was gonna be a lost fight completely around. Even if it's a Mercy or Lucio, don't be afraid to give them the juice just so that they can stay in the fight, since if they die, the fight is most often lost anyways. I'm not saying prioritize using it to save your teammates, just keep it in mind as that's where a massive part of the ability's power lies. You can also nano squishy heroes as they're being pinned by Ryan to save them, since the damage reduction will keep them below the 200 damage threshold. But like I said, in most cases you will be using Ana's ult offensively, so determining who's the best conduit for the power on your team is important. Keep in mind who has ult and who doesn't, and who can output the most damage for the duration of the nano. The classic combos like Nano Blade, Visor, and Ryan are still extremely powerful, but a few of my other favorites are nanoing Bastion just as he's entering turret form, Moira and Coalescence can beam down squishies, and even Bragan Rally will allow her to swing more aggressively while boosting the whole team. It's also important to remember that ult charges based off of damage done, so if you want to nano a target but they're still 10 or 20% away from their ult, pre-hitting them with nano will make them gain their ult much faster and still be able to utilize it within the nano boost duration. Finally, if you haven't already, I highly recommend you switching Ana's nano settings to require confirmation, as this setting helps with two things. Most importantly is helping avoid giving nano to the wrong target. I mean, we've all been there, we've had it happen to us where just as you go to press Q or Y, a Lucio blows past your screen and suddenly you got Boostio and your whole team flaming you. This option helps avoid that as you have an extra available input to either confirm or cancel the option. But additionally, this actually allows you to lock onto a target for a second or two and still be able to fire off the boost from behind cover or a wall. And finally, for all my console friends, within Ana's custom settings, you'll also find a slider for teammate aim assist sensitivity. I played all of Overwatch 1 on console, and while a teammate aim assist can annoyingly pull you away from enemies, it's still an extreme help for not missing heal shots on your team, especially when trying to heal characters like Echo or Genji. Hop into practice range and figure out a strength that's comfortable for you. If you want to climb on Ana, the most important thing is maintaining your life through good positioning and ability usage. Focus on these things throughout your games, and I promise you the wins will come. Hey guys, I appreciate you watching, and let me know which hero I should cover next. And if you have any tips for Ana or just support players in general, leave them down below. I'd actually love to hear what you guys have to say. As always, I appreciate anyone who subscribes. Take care. Peace.